Okay, in today's assignment, you are going to take a drawing file from Google Classroom. It's going to look like this, and we are going to make it look like the answer key using things called geometric constraints. Geometric constraints are rules that we use in Inventor to make lines or whatever things that we're using do exactly what we want them to do. So the file that we have is called a drawing file. They're good for showing off things that you've made in Inventor. For the most part, we are not going to be using drawing files because that's not really the scope of the class, but we may use them from time to time to present our projects. So to edit this, we're going to right-click on Sketch and left-click on Edit, and now everything turns green, which means that there are no constraints. Once it turns purple, that means it's been constrained, or there's a rule that's forcing that thing to do something. So we're going to follow the rules on the top of each one. So the first one says make perpendicular. So there's a perpendicular constraint. And so if we click on the two things we want perpendicular, then they'll show up as perpendicular, plus this little symbol pops up to tell us that there's now a constraint. If we wanted one of these to stay put, there's another constraint called the fix constraint. So let's say I want this to stay put. So you can see that is now constrained, it's purple, and then we'll do the same thing. And now we have a perpendicular constraint, but this line stayed in place. The next one is to make things parallel. So we have a parallel constraint. And then so we click on all the things that we want to be parallel. And again, if we wanted them to be arranged a certain way, I could fix one, and then that would cause the other ones to move. For this one, it says to dimension circle 3, or number 3, to 2 inches in diameter. So the little circle with the slash through it is 2 inches. So I'm going to click on my dimension. So this tells the program what size I want something to be. So I want that to be 2 inches. So I'll click on it, click on the number, and then type 2, and now we're good to go. And then it says to fix circles 1 and 2 and make them tangent to 1 and 2. So we could fix their location or their size. It doesn't specify, so I'm just going to fix their size. And then now we're going to make them tangent to each other. And there we go. We're going to use the tangent button again and make these tangent to each other. Again, if we wanted the lines to stay put, we could fix them, or we can the order in which you do it also matters. So I think the second one is the one that stays put. For the next one, fix point C. So we're going to use the fix button, fix point C, and then make A and B coincident with point C. So we are going to use the coincident button, which is right here. So that puts these together. The next one is to make circles concentric. So that means inside of each other. So here's the concentric button. So we're going to click on the circles that we want to be concentric, and there we go. The next one is collinear, which means to put them end to end. So here's our collinear constraint, and we click on them and they go end to end. Horizontal, here's our horizontal constraint. I will give you a tip with this one. If you started your sketch in a weird axis, then your horizontal may actually be vertical. So basically, if you click horizontal and it goes vertical, then try the vertical constraint, which is right next to it. And that's what we're going to use for the next one. We're going to make these lines vertical. So all 3 lines are vertical. Now we're going to make an equilateral triangle. So we're going to make those equal to each other. We're going to make the circles the same size, so we're going to use the same constraint, the equal button. And the last one, I want to line up these circles. So we'll line them up horizontally. And that's it. And that finishes our sketch.